three ancient wonders of the world that no longer exist. The Colossus of Rhodes, this massive statue of the Greek sun god Helios, was a sight to behold. Constructed in 280 BC, it stood approximately 33 meters high, making it one of the tallest statues of the ancient world. However, it stood for only 56 years before it was destroyed by an earthquake. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, said to be a magnificent tiered garden, it was reportedly built by King Nebuchadnezzar II for his wife, who missed the green hills and valleys of her homeland. Although there's no archaeological evidence of the gardens, they were described in several ancient texts, painting a picture of lush greenery, exotic plants, and elaborate water systems. If they did exist, they were likely destroyed by an earthquake around the 1st century BC. The Lighthouse of Alexandria, constructed in the 3rd century BC on the island of Pharos in Alexandria, Egypt, this lighthouse was one of the tallest man-made structures for many centuries. It guided ships safely into the harbor with a mirror that reflected sunlight during the day and a fire that burned at night. The lighthouse was damaged by several earthquakes and eventually disappeared in the 14th century. Follow us for more bizarre history.
Black people, won't be sort of separate. They'll be all mixed in with the white people. And
It's in such a terrible state now, let alone in 50 years' time.
I don't think there is going to be atomic warfare, but I think that there is going to be all this automation. People are going to be out of work and a great population, and I think something has to be done about it. If I wasn't a biologist, that's what I'd like to do something about the population problem. Try and sort of temper it somehow. I don't know how.
I think it'll be very dull, and people would all be squashed together so much there won't be any fun or anything.
Praising our leaders, we're getting in tune. The music's played by the madman. Forever young, I want to be forever young. Do you really want to live forever? Forever, never. Forever young, I want to be forever young. Do you really want to live forever? Forever young.
Predictions made by people in 1923 for the year 2023. According to people 100 years ago, we should no longer have to work hard in 2023. Scientists said we would live to be 300 years old by now. They also believed women would shave their heads, while men wear curls.
Ever heard of the phantom time hypothesis? It's a theory that suggests we've been living a lie. The hypothesis is a historical conspiracy theory proposed by German historian Heribert Illig in 1991. According to Illig, we are not living in the 21st century, but rather in the 18th century. Sounds crazy, right? The theory suggests that the early Middle Ages, 614 through 911 AD, never happened and were fabricated by the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and possibly the Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII. They allegedly altered the existing calendar to place themselves at the special year of 1000 AD, creating a phantom time of 297 years that never existed. Illig's hypothesis is based on the scarcity of archaeological evidence that can be reliably dated from the years 614 through 911, the perceived inadequacies of radiometric and dendrochronological methods of dating this period, and the over-reliance of medieval historians on written sources. The phantom time hypothesis is widely dismissed by mainstream historians and scholars. It contradicts verifiable historical and archaeological data from around the world, and the Gregorian calendar we use today, introduced by Pope Gregory XIII in 1582, is widely accepted as accurate. So, what do you think? Are we living in a fabricated timeline?
let's talk about the history of the Ku Klux Klan. The Ku Klux Klan, or the KKK, was founded in 1865 in Tennessee. It being founded in 1865 is no coincidence. It was right after the Civil War, and Reconstruction policies were very active in the South. And the Klan was founded as a means to fight back against these Reconstruction policies, seeing Black people and former enslaved people as a threat. Now, what a lot of people don't know is the KKK has existed and died 3 separate times. First iteration or version was the one founded in Tennessee in the late 1860s. Their main purpose and objective was to terrorize, kill, and intimidate Black people, former enslaved people, and Black lawmakers. At the time, there were a lot of Black Republicans that were making goals and laws for the progress of Reconstruction. This version eventually died out around the 1880s because of laws that were enforced and the fact that Reconstruction ended in 1877. Second iteration of the Klan happened in the mid-1910s. It was fueled by nationalism, increased rates of immigration, the Great Migration of Black people to the northern states, President Woodrow Wilson showing the birth of a nation in the White House. The Klan peaked membership in 1920 at over 4 million members. Klan shrunk due to the Great Depression, but was revived one last time in the 1950s and 60s as a means to fight. It's a civil rights movement. Although the Ku Klux Klan has lived and died 3 different times, they've always stood for the same exact thing.
Here are historical facts I wish I didn't know. Number 1. King Herod executed his wife and then preserved her body in honey for 7 years. Some people even claim he had relations with it. Number 2. In 1184, a bunch of nobles met in a church in Erfurt, Germany. Their weight made the floor collapse, they fell into the latrine below, and many of them drowned in liquid poop. Number 3. Rasputin once bragged about not changing his underwear for 6 months, and food would often rot in his beard. Number 4. Lady Caroline Lamb was so obsessed with her ex-lover Lord Byron that she once sent him clippings of her pubic hair. Number 5. William Randolph Hearst is the inspiration behind Citizen Kane, the movie where Rosebud is famously a sled. In real life, Rosebud was reportedly Hearst's nickname for his mistress Marion Davies, but it referred to her lady parts. Number 6. Catherine Medici was just 14 when she married, but on her wedding night, her father-in-law stayed in the bedroom and watched until the marriage was fully consummated. Public beatings were a big thing. On William of Orange's wedding night, King Charles II watched from the sidelines and shouted encouragement. Number 7. Mozart loved bathroom humor and wrote letters to his family describing his farts in great detail.
Crazy history facts you won't learn anywhere else. Part 3. In the 18th century, it was fashionable for wealthy Europeans to have their own personal dwarfs who would perform for their amusement and even be given as gifts, a small price to pay for entertainment. The ancient Chinese practiced a form of foot binding on young girls, which involved breaking their toes and bending their feet to make them smaller and more attractive. In 1866, Liechtenstein sent out an army of 80 men to participate in the Austro-Prussian War. They came back with 81 men, suffering no casualties and having made one friend. Maybe the real Austro-Prussian War was the friends we made along the way. The ancient Greeks used to exercise in the nude, and the word gymnasium actually means a place to exercise naked in Greek. In 1325, 2 rival Italian city-states, Bologna and Modena, went to war over a stolen bucket.